everyone. Welcome to the presentation tonight. It's about a DA program offered by WeCloudData. And first of all, my name is Eric Liu. I am one of the co-founders. I'm also the director of business intelligence. So this is my own career path. As you can tell, it's zigzag through, it's not even a straight line. I want to use this to convince you that everybody's career path probably will take an approach like this. It's rarely a straight line, and there are times you feel confused, even lost, and there are times you need to reposition yourself, reinvent yourself to stay in the game. It's often a good idea if you switch career. It's like driving on the highway. There are times you need to change lanes. It's always a good idea because after you change lanes, you can drive faster and you can get to your goal sooner. So as you can tell, I was trained as an engineer, but I work in the bank as a loan officer. So I already changed my, not just the job, I changed my career. And I used to work in China for a European bank called ING Bank, and all the way up to senior manager. In year 2000, I moved to Canada with my family. And there were 3 months I tried to work as an accountant at AMD Markham. And it turned out accounting was not for me. So I quickly switched to banking again. So I went to CIBC. I worked as a business analyst. And then I worked as a data analyst. From there, I fell in love with data. And I also moved from CIBC to GE Money. So GE Money at the time was not a bank, but it did the financial service. I work in the space of predictive modeling, and now we have a fancy term called machine learning. So I work as a modeler for a while. And then I moved back to the banking community, and I worked for Scotiabank as a senior manager and director and senior director. In year 2016, I quit banking altogether, and I moved to a fintech firm called Affirm Financial. At the same time, almost at the same time, I pick up teaching. And in year 2018, I joined WeCloudData as the number 4 co-founder. And that's always something I enjoy doing, helping people find data jobs, and I try to leverage all my experience and to help people find their sweet spot and reposition themselves for growth. So eventually, this is my world. I quit corporate, and this is my business. It's also my passion. Let me just go to the next one. So WeCloudData, as you know, we run bootcamps. We used to run programs in downtown office after COVID, and everything moved to online. And we continue to provide live bootcamp on Zoom, meaning the instructors and teach a live class of the size anywhere between 15 students to 25, even 30 students. And our program were very favorably rated and reviewed by CIO, by SwitchUp, by Career Karma. So several programs. I like to mention data analytics and data science, and data engineering and machine learning engineering. I'm going to tell you the difference between the four programs in a bit. We used to run the meetup in physical locations like this, but nowadays, as you know, we run meetup digitally as well. So this is just one of many events we host. Go to the next slide. So I'm going to tell you the difference between data jobs such as DA, DSD, and MLE. Oftentimes we call DA BI, so data analytics and business intelligence. So we almost use the two terms interchangeably. However, DA and BI are different. So they're different stages in the same process. In fact, before DA, there's another one called BA, business analysis. So it's business analysis, data analysis, and business intelligence, and the three steps of the same process. So business analysis is to collect the needs and requirements from the business team, making sure we understand the requirements, and we work on the right problem, and we build the right product. And then we start, reaching out maybe to IT and collect data from different sources and process them, clean them, transform them, and make data usable, consumable, and analyzable. And that's DA. And business intelligence, a lot of times we use visualization tools to extract insights and to visualize the trends, patterns, and relationships. And we also communicate back to the business team what that insight means. So it's basically findings, conclusions, and recommendations. And if you do this, we're going to realize more revenue, or maybe cut back on the costs, and improve the process efficiency, and different ways of adding value to the business and customers. So that's DABI. I want you to know that DABI, we over here in this context, we use them interchangeably. It means the same program. And we do touch, the three stages of the same process, BA/DA/BI. And then we have data science. So over here, I'm going to show you the skill set, and it is very different. It's actually the same 11 skills, but with different focus. So as you can tell, as a DA, we focus a lot on reporting, business insight, storytelling, data visualization, and essentially reporting and storytelling, data visualization are different means of communication. We're trying to communicate the insights back to the business team. So business teams are our internal customers. We add value to the business, to the customers, by providing visibility, providing insight to business team at all levels, all the way from C-level to C-level executives, to VPs, to directors, to managers, and to employees who are running the shop from day to day. So just remember, DA focus more on communication. And data scientist has it is more specialized. So as you can tell, these are the focus. So you can see these are full points, 5 points, right? So statistics is important, and modeling is what data scientist does. Sometimes it's called, predictive modeling. Sometimes it's called machine learning, and it's essentially the same thing. And Experimentation. So we use A/B testing to challenge the existing model and until we find a new model that can predict better. So data scientists oftentimes, you see people coming from a strong statistics or math background. And then data engineer, once again, same skills, but with different focus. So over here, you can see it focuses a lot more on data pipeline, and oftentimes it's on cloud. So cloud computing is a very important component of data engineering. So data engineer, think about plumber. So you're building the pipeline, you're building the infrastructure, you're building the highway that the business can run. So the data will flow um, through the pipeline. And as you collect data, you use the data to train the model. And while you use the model to support the decision, and everything is on an ongoing basis. So that has to run on a good infrastructure. So data engineering is building that pipeline, is building that infrastructure. Machine learning engineer, it's more about deployment and operations of the data science model. So remember the difference between this and this from data science perspective. You're developing the model, and machine learning engineer, you're implementing and the model, and after implementation, you support and you operate the model as part of the data layer. So I hope you understand the difference better than before and after this discussion. So today, our presentation focused more on DA, data analyst, or BI. Okay, so if you have any questions, I encourage you to just type your question as we move forward. And I will try to, just give me a sec. Let me just bring this over. I want to make sure I can see your question. Actually, this is not working so well. Let me just go back and run this. I'm going to swap. Okay, so now I can see your comments if you have any question. Okay, there's a question. What project in DA a portfolio word? So you mentioned portfolio. Portfolio is actually really, really important. Compared to the people who only have a resume, if you have a portfolio, and it's a lot easier to convince the hiring manager or to convince the employer to give you that opportunity. So portfolio, I will talk about the project, what kind of project we should include in the portfolio. So at the beginning, I show you a very simple project. That is oftentimes, when our students start to learn Power BI, that's the kind of project they will do. And even that one, and the one you just watched, from Asdell, it is a full day project Microsoft used to train for corporate training. So let me tell you, there is a name. It's called not portfolio. It's dashboard in a day. It's dashboard in a day. So it's a 6 hour training. So 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon. But as you can tell, the video is only 24 minutes long. So if you are really, really familiar with Power BI, you can finish the project in much less time. and our students can finish it in 3 hours. And if we do it the second time, perhaps you can finish it in an hour and a half. So that's how we train the students, and you learn, it's learning by building, and you always have something at the end of each course, at the end of each use case, and you can add some of the project to your portfolio to showcase your skills and experience. So, so this is just an example. This is a real resume of one of the students. I asked for her permission to show her resume. So your resume, you make a statement, you are a very capable candidate. However, and you have a lot convincing to do if you don't have proof. So your portfolio is oftentimes a good way for you to engage HR even and the hiring manager. The good thing about DA/BI is your work is very visible. Remember, I said the three stage of the process, business analysis, data analysis, and business intelligence. So the third stage, business intelligence, involves visualization, visual storytelling. So this student, her resume is only one page. However, the document, the PDF, actually has 2 pages. So the first page is the resume, and the second page is a portfolio sample. It's just 1 page sample. And you don't need to spend too much time, maybe 10 seconds, but you're under the impression this candidate is technical, and um, he is hands-on, and he has done some really good project. And so that is enough to engage the HR or the hiring manager and get you an interview opportunity. Okay, question. Could you submit project even if they're not completed and still working on it? What do you mean? Um, you know, this is a small picture, but you can see there's a link to this individual's portfolio. So it's a personal portfolio website, and you can include some of the project as work in progress, but it's better to have some completed project on it. And oftentimes people will not, interested in reading your code, but the visualization part of it is very eye-catching, and people see it. Even the business people can't understand some of it, right? So that is a good part of business intelligence program, because your work is visible and you can use it to connect you to the people with power. You can use it to connect to the people with the opportunity. Okay, so remember, don't just tell, show them. So you use resume to make a statement, and you use your portfolio to tell them, look, I bring you proof, this is a reliable indicator that I am capable and I will succeed in this role. All right. So the next slide is, remember, when you build your resume, you should probably include experience like this. And if your past work experience is less relevant, a good way to, make your resume look competitive is to include some project experience, such as this one. So you can tell this project is done in the space of CRM, customer relationship management, and specifically digital marketing, and more specifically email campaign, right? I can tell you almost every single company, they run email campaigns. Email is full of spam, but it is still a very important channel for most business to use to reach and engage the potential customer and try to convert them. Okay, so if you have done a project like this, you become relevant to a lot of business. I came from banking, I can tell you, all the banks, they run email campaigns. And obviously, retail industry, they use a lot of email campaigns. And yeah, remember the emails that you receive that oftentimes include a subscribe or unsubscribe button. So we even have laws and regulations to regulate, the email campaigns. So that is telling you how common it is. Business use email channel to get traffic and try to convert the traffic into paying customers. So you very quickly, if you look at this experience, right? So we have 6 bullets. The first one, you work with marketers and engineers. So you are who are you? So you're a DA, you're a data analyst. So analysts work with marketers and engineers. So this is the business team, and this is the IT team. So, you're from the data team, so work with marketers and engineers to design and execute email campaigns, generate leads, and drive sales. So from leads to sales, that's conversion, right? So if you have 1,000 leads and you only have 30 sales, so that's 3% conversion rate. And this is a conversion funnel. And then your work, this project, covers end-to-end 3 steps, from list generation to campaign execution and to performance measurement. So this is pre-campaign, this is campaign itself, and this is post-campaign. So pre-campaign list generation, that's done by you, and campaign execution, that's done by engineer, and performance measurement, that's once again done by you, right? In fact, the whole process, you work with marketers and engineers very, very closely. So if you're working in this business, you need to understand the business rules and the laws and regulations. So you can generate a targeted email list based on business rules and do not call list or Canadian anti-spam legislation. So these are the rules and laws and regulations that define the landscape, the operating environment. And it's also you trying to segment the email list based on different characters, based on demographic behavior and preference characteristics for personalized content. So the best email is you target the right people with the right content. So you will be able to improve some of the KPIs. So I'm going to talk about a KPI in a bit. So then you will also do A/B testing. So this is done probably by you or by the data scientist. You will use a random seed to divide the email list into control and test group. So the moment we talk about control and test groups and A and B, different strategies, different creative, we're talking about experimentation, we're talking about A/B testing. So it's email, right? Everybody understands it. So what's the difference between strategy A and strategy B? The difference might be the subject, or could be in the body, or could be the CTA, the call to action statement, right? So you will continuously do tests, do experiments to determine what works and what doesn't, and what works better, okay? So the last one, related to performance measurement, you define the KPIs. And once again, these are very easy to understand: the open rate, click rate, and conversion rate. So if the email is received by the potential customer, by a lead, and he opened it, he even clicked it, and then eventually he become the customer, and then he will be included in the numerator of the open rate calculation, click rate calculation, and conversion rate calculation. So you use this KPI to measure email campaign performance and improve the return on investment and reduce the cost of acquisition. Okay, so I hope you understand, after I walk you through, but still, if I ask you just copy paste and add this writing block to your email to increase your chances of getting an interview, I think you wouldn't feel comfortable. Why? That's what I call the imposter syndrome. Because in your heart, you're saying, I know this kind of experience will help me. This kind of experience can get me an interview, but I have never done the work. I haven't really done it. So that makes me feel uncomfortable. I feel like a fraud. I'm scared of being caught, right? So this is psychology. I think most people understand it. And if you do, add this to your resume and if you get an interview, you fear. You fear that they will ask you about this part of the experience and you cannot defend it. And the reason, very simple, because you haven't done it. And that is exactly what we do here at WeCloudData. We design the training, we design every training program to simulate the real work environment. We put you to work on projects like this. So it doesn't matter your situation. You could be a new grads from school or you're about to graduate. Or you could, it could be a career switcher. You're working a different area, different field, but now you want to break into the data space, break into data analytics. So if you fall into one of these two categories, I'm pretty sure, you need help to overcome the imposter syndrome. And when you have done the project and you feel very comfortable including this on your resume, and you feel very comfortable talking about it. In fact, you look forward to people, asking questions about this because you have well prepared for this moment, right? And you have rehearsed, you have practiced over and over, and you know how to do a good job, showcasing, presenting this project. Any question? All right. Okay, so I'm going to talk about hierarchy of work. Reason being, DA or BI is closely related to the business world. So we need to understand the hierarchy of work. And if you take a bird's view, if you look at the business from top down, and you can go all the way from the high level strategy to mid-level tactics and to low-level task. So maybe this is the work of CEO, right? Or CFO or CMO or COO. Anyways, the C-level executive, um, they always think about the long-term vision and the high-level strategy. And then we also have VPs and directors and managers, and they are mid-level management. So they will design the tactics that align with the strategy, and they're the ones who are implementing and executing the strategy. And it kept going down to the low-level employee and the people who are working on the floor from day to day and performing hundreds of different tasks. So we need to understand that. And that is the business model. And you can also see data flowing from bottom up, right? So if you understand the different level, and you would be able to use data to answer questions from different level. For instance, If you look at CEO will um, care about sales, but maybe it's just one big number. But VP product, he also care about sales, but probably he want to break it down by product because some product are selling better than other product, right? But if this is the VP sales and the sales team is organized by region, he may want to break down sales by region. So, and below them, you have product manager, product manager, product manager. And this product manager probably only care about sales of the product he is responsible for. And this regional manager, because he's in charge of Ontario, he only care about sales for Ontario. So as someone working in the data team, and it's the same data, but yet you can use data from the most detailed level, and you can roll up all the way to the top level. And you can use the same data to answer questions from people at different level, right? And that's your job. That's your job. So your job is to help the business team use data to answer questions and solve problems and support decisions. And remember these three phrases: answer questions, solve problem, and support decision. You do them all so you can add value to the business and add value to the customers. Okay, going to the next slide. So remember the email campaign experience you put on the resume. How do you support it? So if you think about it, we can, and this is just a very simplified example. We can simulate work environment and you can learn skills in context. And you can produce professional work samples, or you can build a project portfolio to showcase the employable skills. And that way you can get interviews and you can pass interviews. So this is a very, very simple example. We can actually simulate everything we just talked about from the previous channel. We can simulate point 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 by running SQL query. It's interesting, huh? I think this kind of learning really, really helps. It's not about learning tools. It's about using tools to solve business problems, right? To answer business questions and to support business decisions. And everything is real, 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 okay? All right, so let me know if you have any question. I will answer them as we move forward. Okay, so some of you probably are young, fresh new grads coming out of school, or you're about to graduate June, July 2024. And you are a little bit scared. So because you're scared, you don't really have what the employers are looking for, experience. But I want to assure you, don't chase the experience, please chase expertise, because expertise is way better than experience. And because technology changed so quickly, the relevant expertise actually beats irrelevant experience. Okay, expertise beats experience. Expertise is skill acquired from actual doing it, from actual practicing, regardless of number of years, could be 3 months, right? And even though some other people may have worked for 10 years, but it's less relevant, or maybe it's old technology, or it's complete different space, it doesn't matter. And you can outperform the experienced people, no problem. And I also want to tell you, it is true that the relevant expertise from 3 months of bootcamp practicing with native workers, you can easily beat the 3 years of your relevant experience. So I hope you can walk away from this presentation. Remember, expertise over experience. So you chase expertise, not experience. And if you don't have relevant experience, you could always show your expertise from the project you have done. Okay. Enric, not all of us are young. Some of us are doing the pivot. Yes, I completely understand. In our careers where we still need to display expertise without the experience. That's true. That's true. So in your case, and we have many people in your case, and remember Madonna and what she said, you have to reinvent yourself to stay in the game. We all have to reinvent ourselves to stay in the game. Um, but be careful, but be careful. Because sometimes you think, I have to throw away everything I have had, my training, my past experience because it's less relevant. So it's like throwing everything out the window and start from zero. So you want to go from zero to hero. And I want to tell you that that's not the case. And we, the fact that we come from the traditional old world sometimes is a advantage. Not just individuals like you and me are, reinventing ourselves, and business are also trying to transform the business model from traditional to digital, right? It's called digital transformation. So obviously, compared to a new grad, you come from the old world and you understand the challenges and frustration. That's actually a valuable experience that you can pivot, you can leverage. And if you can combine the old with new, if you can combine the old traditional world experience with the new technology, new skills to solve the old problem, I think you will become rare. You will become a lot more valuable. So we are playing the game of reinventing ourselves. We are playing the game of rewriting our past experience. This is what I call creative writing. So we just have to dig into our past and find the things that's still relevant. And the fact that you understand the business, you understand the world, and including the challenges and frustration, and that can help you tell stories. That can help you click with the hiring manager, and he will say, hey, this guy, he completely understands my problem, and he has a solution. That's great. I can't wait to get him on board. Okay, so from Chadwick, would an internship count as expertise? Absolutely. But nowadays, internship or co-ops, I heard even University of Waterloo, the students from University of Waterloo, it was extremely hard last year, and it is still hard this year to find co-ops and internships. I have two children, and my son is already working. My daughter is third year university, and I can tell from her experience it's extremely hard to find internship and co-op. If that is the case, if you're in the third year, I think don't waste the time. If you can't find internship, I think you should spend the time learning the new skills and building your portfolio. So once it is time for you to find a real job, you're prepared, right? And remember, internship, the purpose of it is to showcase that you have already worked in the real work environment. So you can achieve the same goal by attending the bootcamp. Okay, from Enrique, I don't want to reinvent myself into a pay cut. Nobody want. Nobody want. So that's the reason why, even if you're a career switcher, don't think, if you switch to a different field, you will take a pay cut. You shouldn't. You should still aim for intermediate or even senior roles, only because you do have ton of experience in the past. But now that you have reskilled yourself, and you can leverage that experience with the new skill, and you can add value to the employer, right? So don't discount, that experience. So don't disqualify yourself before the employer disqualify you. Okay, so what kind of jobs? It's the same role, but many different titles. And remember, I said before, three stages of the same process: business analysis, data analysis, and business intelligence. I can tell you, even though, different industries and different functional areas, they all need analysts. But technically speaking, the process remains more or less the same. A lot of the techniques and tools and skills remain the same, all the way through, from business analysis, data analysis, and business intelligence. And the magic is how you combine the business domain knowledge with the data skills. So to find opportunities, if you just add the word analyst to any functional area, you will be able to find a role like that. So marketing, you have marketing analyst, sales analyst, product analyst, operations analyst, financial analyst, risk analyst, people analyst. So you learn the skill on the right side, but you still need to understand the domain knowledge, right? And it's not possible if you try to learn the skills in a vacuum. And our bootcamp is designed in a way we want to simulate the real world. And every single use case and every single project is designed along different functional areas. So you will think about marketing strategy, you will think about sales funnel, you will think about product design and pricing strategy, you will think about operational efficiency, and you will think about financial planning and how to compare actual versus forecast versus budget. You will think about how to mitigate risk and how to optimize reward. And you will think about the talent acquisition and retentions. So everything is related to the business and different functional area of the business. And if you add the word analyst to different industries, the same thing, you will see that magic. So if you can marry CRM to the analyst, and then you will have a CRM analyst, retail analyst, digital analyst, policy analyst in the public sector, and the investment analyst in capital market, right? Supply chain analyst if you work in the supply chain and logistic, inbound and outbound logistics. All right. So opportunities everywhere. And I think you already get what I'm trying to get into, right? So we're playing the game of combining business and data and communication. So if you can master the three components of the job, business domain knowledge and data skill and communication is the last part, right? And oftentimes we use visualization tool to communicate the insight, to visualize the conclusion and recommendation. Okay, and different level of the role, and you will see the word analyst, you will see consultant. Sometimes you start to see developer and engineer, even though you're not a software developer, you're not a computer engineer. Why? Because nowadays, the business team they need reports, they need insight, they need dashboard. So BI actually become a product. BI become a service. So if it is a product, if it is a service, if business team, they have come to expect, the reports delivered to their desktop on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and then you will go through the same cycle of analysis, development, acceptance, and production. So that's the reason why some of our students, they find jobs as a BI developer or even BI engineer. And I tell you, I think you need to know this. Nowadays, if your title has the word engineer in it, you definitely make more money. So the word developer and engineer involves implementation, deployment, and operations. And you will care about performance, speed, and the use of memory and the use of storage. And that is oftentimes a good skill and good experience to add to the resume. Okay. Of course, you can also pursue management role and you become a technical leader, a BI manager or BI director. Okay. So these salary in US dollars. Um, these are US dollars. These from a survey. And I want to tell you, this is from like 2 years ago. So now with the inflation, I think candidates expect more. So now it's quite often, for people to find jobs that pay six figure. And a few years ago, it's huge when you find a job that pays six figure. So now we have, I'm not saying this is the norm, but it does happen. We actually had a student, a new graduate with a bachelor's degree, and he found a contract role that pays six figure. All right. So this is the BI bootcamp. So I can't talk about bootcamp without the career service. It's a combo, but you can take them standalone, right? So the bootcamp itself costs 3,000 and the career service 2,600. And if you put them together, that's 5,600 Canadian dollars. So if you convert that to US, it's a lot cheaper. It looks cheaper. And not to mention, we have scholarship and discount. So the sales team, they knows better. And when is the going period for the discount and when is the expiry. So if you're interested, and please, let me know and I will help you engage a program advisor so you can get details of the cost and discount. So for the bootcamp, and it's self-paced. Self-paced meaning we actually spent the time and record, same instructors, we record the bootcamp. So that means there is no interruption and it's smooth, there's a lot of redo, we want to make sure we have a good course. And if you cut out the breaks, if you cut out the interruptions, it's shorter, it's smoother. And you can start anytime and you can, just follow your own pace. If your hours are, or if you come from a different time zone, if your hours are off, if you work evening time and you have time in the morning, that's no problem at all. And you can watch the video anytime you want. But self-paced bootcamp was very, very strong one-on-one TA support. So there is high touch, and there's no compromise on that. At the same time, you have complete control over, how fast, how slow, and when to start, right? And you learn 5 data tools and 8 industry-grade projects. So these projects are not toy projects. These are industry-grade projects. And we also have the workshop, and we teach you how to build a portfolio. So the purpose of the bootcamp is to help you become super competitive. And nowadays, the skills that make you stand out, it's hard to learn by yourself. And if you are still taking online courses, because everybody takes online courses, and you can't expect miracle to happen, because it's insane if you do what everybody else is doing and expect the miracle to happen. So this bootcamp exists for a reason, and it is helping you to beat your competition in 2 ways. And first, help you pass the coding test. The second is help you pass the case interview. You have done 8 projects, and you have done project over and over, and you will have no problem, getting a case done, a project done within a day, within 3 days, sometimes a week. Okay, so this is to get you the skills and experience. And career service is also one-on-one. This is a teaching assistant, but this is a industry mentor. It helps you get interviews and pass interviews. That includes multiple things. It includes the resume building, includes job networking, includes job referral. It includes interview scripting. It involves interview practicing. Okay, so it's basically trying to get you as many interviews as you can, and also help you every step of the way, pass HR screen, pass the technical interview, and pass the hiring manager interview. Okay, we don't guarantee jobs, but if you take our bootcamp, you're well trained, and if you take our career services, you will significantly increase the chance of getting hired. Okay, so multiple questions. Rose 9. What visualization tools do you use, Tableau or Power BI? We teach both. We teach both Tableau and Power BI. Power BI is getting more and more popular, but we still have companies, and they use Tableau. Tableau is part of Salesforce, so it's also very, very popular. But if you learn one tool, it will help you pick up the other tool. Some people, they build most projects in Power BI. Some other people, they do half-half, some Tableau, some Power BI. Both okay, both are fine. But if you know both Tableau and Power BI, you cover most jobs. Okay, Rick. So prior companies that I work at used Power BI because the data was in the yes. Power BI is part of the Microsoft ecosystem. And a lot of data analysis and engineering training I have been doing focuses on Tableau. And some people say Tableau was designed by artists, so it looks more beautiful. That may be a mess. I don't know. That's because Tableau, every canvas, you can only build one visual, whereas Power BI, the canvas, you can build anything you want. I think it's that freedom. And if you're not trained on design, I think you don't know how to handle that freedom. So oftentimes the dashboard you built looks very ugly. So we'll teach you, how to use PowerPoint to design background with shapes and alignments. So, and we will also teach you color theme, how to make sure colors and styles and effects are consistent, And Rosemary, for the ETL process, what tools do you use? A good question. Good question. So in fact, if you are familiar with Power BI, there's a built-in ETL tool called Power Query. I know it's not the same, but if the data is not huge, um, if the IT team is not dependable, I'm joking, and then you can actually leverage Power BI. If you work on the business side, you can do ETL just by yourself without reliance on IT resources. Okay, to answer your question, what ETL process, we will teach people a SQL database. So SQL database that involves database data warehousing, and we also teach you, basic database management. We also teach you performance tuning and data mapping. So a lot of the skills that you will need to demonstrate. I think we will have the project, once you need to deal with big database, with maybe 5 GB of data and with 30 tables, and some of the fact tables have like 17 or even 20 million rows. And then performance becomes the issue. So you started to care about the performance because even Power BI crashing, right? Then you can't just know everything, and you have to be very selective, right? So you only choose the columns that you will use. But because the ETL process is within your control, if you need another column, that's no problem. You can just go back, add another column, and it's the press of the button, and everything will get refreshed and updated, right? Isn't that beautiful? Okay. How do you measure the success rate of the bootcamp? We use the placement rate within 6 months after graduation from the bootcamp. So I have to admit, last year and the first quarter of this year, we 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 didn't receive that many good news as we did before. So year 2022 and prior, our placement rate was pretty high, like in 80% range. But nowadays, it's become more and more competitive. There are less jobs on the market, less interviews. And that's why you probably need the professional help even more. So with the team, we try to leverage all the connections within our trusted network. If there's any referral, we want to make sure, our students can get at least interviews. And that is how you become better at interviewing, right? So we use placement rate, and we use placement rate to measure everybody. We use that to measure the program manager, to measure the instructor, to measure the TA, and even sales. So the sales will get a higher percentage of commission if the placement rate and the enrollment rate is high. All right. So having said, when you need to learn this and that and that, I want to emphasize this is a different kind of learning. It's not learning for the sake of learning. It's learning enough to get a job, and there's only one goal, one and only goal is to get hired. So this is how we approach. We simulate your role, not just this chair, right? Not just this figure. we want to zoom in and zoom out, and how you perform the task of an analyst in the context of the vertical function and horizontal process and the overall business and within the big context of the industry, and how you communicate up and down and across the organization to get the job done. So it's also the work environment. You need to understand your work, the work of your upstream partner and the work of your downstream coworker, right? So think about, the business team is your customer and the IT team is your supplier, because you need data from the IT team. And if the data is late, and if the data is wrong, or if the data is incomplete, then all those data issues, you will spend maybe half of your time communicating back and forth with IT and making sure they do their job so you can do your job and deliver the reports and dashboard to the business team. And you also spend time with the business team and collect the requirements and build the sandbox and show it to them and make sure you understand and their habits of using data to support decisions. And you develop, prototype and get their feedback. So you see, you don't perform your job and the task in the vacuum. And you need to understand your work. You also need to understand the relationship with the people around you. So this is how we design every single case, your job and the upstream and the downstream and the vertical function and the horizontal process in the big picture of the business and how to make money and what is the core process and what are the most important decisions and how to measure success, uh, which are the typical KPIs and which are the typical dimensions, right? So if you understand one project and one use case in this industry, I can tell you, you can feel comfortable because um, for that given industry, probably the way that people do things are largely the same, and maybe 70% the same, right? So if you know which industry you're targeting, you can already prepare for interview when you are learning. Of course, when you get the actual phone call from the employer, we still need to research and understand the uniqueness to that particular business and that particular role. But that can be done within a short period of time. So if you receive a invitation for interview on Friday and today is Tuesday, you still have 2 days. You can work with the expert mentor and to prepare for the missing 30%. All I'm trying to say is when you are doing the bootcamp, every single project you do, you should try to convert that project into bullet points that you can put on the resume and stories that you can tell the employer during the interview. Okay, so this is the bootcamp. It's a simplified version. So 5 tools: advanced Excel, right? And SQL and Python and Tableau and Power BI. And then we spend 1/3 of the time learning the fundamental. In fact, before the actual bootcamp, we have pre-camp. The pre-camp will teach you SQL and Python because these are the 2 courses most people feel challenged with. And we have lots of students coming from business background, so business, finance, accounting, economics. They have never done coding. So we want to make sure before you start the camp, you are not zero. You already know how to code. Okay. So then the 1/3 fundamental and 2/3 project. So nowadays we have 8 projects, in different industries. And over the years, we have collected so many test cases in project. And if you have special requests, we can give you extra project to do. That's not a problem. But the 8 project we include, it's after years and years of comparison, and we want to include a project that cover the most jobs. Okay, this is business analysis. We teach you how to research about a business and an industry, and you ask these kind of questions: how to make money in a business? What are the core processes? What are the key decision areas? The goals and objectives. Remember the hierarchy of work. How do we go from top down, from strategies to tactics to operations? Okay, there is quite a bit of mapping of the process and also business objects. And very interesting. Later on, when you design the data model, it mirrors the business model. And this is data analysis. So it's about collection, processing, and analysis of raw data. Okay. So there's a step called EDA, exploratory data analysis. And then you learn how to generate summary statistics, the minimum, maximum, average, and distinct and unique counts. And using that, you will find the data issues anomalous. You will also find the primary and foreign key. So if you see any data issues, you will learn how to treat them, right? So this is what we call ETL, extract, transform. And after you have all the data issues dealt with, and you can load the data into the environment. And SQL is important. SQL is both a database and language to communicate with that database. And with SQL, you will learn data modeling or database design. And a lot of times, we will go over this many, many times. It's about dimension table versus fact tables. Microsoft used the term star schema. So you have the fact table in the middle, surrounded by the dimension tables. Okay, and we use primary and foreign key to connect them into one-to-many relationships. So once you have a data model, once you have connected data, it becomes extremely powerful. And it also makes visualization extremely easy. So that's the reason why some people say, I'm very weak, I'm not very good at SQL, but I can do visualization. I use Power BI. So Power BI and Tableau are easy to learn, but if you want to do a really good job, you will realize a SQL foundation is extremely critical. Okay, so these several tools are all connected. And then the business intelligence. So I'm going to show you. So this is the capstone project completed by our current bootcamp. So I'm going to play this short video. So it's basically dimensions and KPI, trends and drivers, conclusions and recommendation. So we can visualize data creation, value creation. It's one of these: revenue growth, cost reduction, efficiency gain, quality improvement. So here we go. You can see it's pretty well designed. It's like an app. It's like an application. It looks very cool. Once again, Power BI, with Power BI, you can also develop beautiful dashboard. You just need to learn the principles of design, and we'll teach you that. All right. Any questions so far? With it's 9:30. Any questions? If not, so the career service is supported, with this program called Alumni Mentorship Support. And we develop our internal app to manage the one-on-one mentorship. It's a relationship, and we need a project management tool. And we pay our most of the mentors, most of them are our successful alumni. They used to be our students. And then with our help, they find jobs and they build a career, and they're doing really, really well, in their industry, and they want to come back and help the new generation of students. We pay them. We pay them $50 an hour, and we allocate a portion of your tuition. So we usually allocate $1,000 for every student, and we pay them $50 an hour. If we do the math, 1,000 divided by 50, that's 20 hours career service. So 20 hours soft cap is used for budgeting purpose. But end of the day, some students use more hours, some other students use less hours. So we're hoping the actual cost of mentorship will balance out, at program level. It's our principle to help you until you find jobs. If you don't give up on yourself, we will not give up on you. So we will help you until you find jobs. So I like to spend a minute to talk about the technical screening test, the technical interview. The bad news is nowadays, any DA job attracts many resumes. So the companies start to switch. They used to do HR screening and then the technical test. Now they do the technical test first. It's called code fight before resume fight. So this is the bad news because you will be tested. But the good news is a survey of hiring managers shows that only 1 out of 10 candidates responds to the technical test. So if you have taken the bootcamp, you will have no problem, passing the test. If you are brave enough, if you can take the challenge and pass it, you effectively reduce the competition by 90%. That's really, really good news. And more good news is WeCloudData, over the years, we have curated real technical tests from employers to train our students. It is good to take the test to expose your weakness so you know you will need to work on it, before you go to the real one. And our coding interview workshop helps you practice with focus, stay sharp, and you can go to the technical test at a moment's notice. Okay, so toward the end of the presentation, I'm going to show you a few frequently asked questions. Some of you may have the same question. Is data the same as IT? No. Data is completely different from IT. I know you need to learn how to code, but data programming is very different from application programming. So it's very, very different. So we, as data professionals, we use SQL and Python to process data, right? We're not developing a system or developing an application. It's very, very different. Even though sometimes your title has the word developer in it, it's still very different. So a BI developer, you are developing the dashboard, Okay. So what do you do all day? Just running queries and making reports? Maybe 10 years ago, that was the case. You always, all you did was, running SQL query and answer random questions. Even reports, you create a table or even include a charts in Excel. But nowadays, with powerful tools like Power BI and Tableau, we create dashboard. The dashboard is very, very powerful. I will give you the statistics. Some of our students, they help their employer to automate 100 reports into maybe 5 dashboards. The 100 reports are manually done. You need to spend the same amount of time updating the batch of reports every month. But a dashboard works very different because the dashboard connects to the data source and it can be refreshed and updated automatically. And it's also dynamic, interactive. And instead of you running queries and answering the random question, random sometimes within quote. And after you receive the same question twice, 3 times, you need to develop or include this into your dashboard, right? If it's not ad hoc, if it's ongoing, and you will continuously change, improve your dashboard to serve many different needs. So it becomes a DIY service. Most of the business team members, they know how to use a dashboard because it's easy, it's straightforward, and they will be able to answer most of their own questions without bothering you. And you can free up your time and you can do something and create more value. So it's not just running queries and making report, it's developing dashboard as a service. Do I have an advantage in data analytics with a STEM background? You may, because we have seen people coming from statistics, technology, engineering, and math background, and they pick up coding faster. However, you also have a weakness. A lot of times you do things without a sense of purpose. You don't know why you're doing what you're doing. Comparatively speaking, if you're coming from a FAPE background, from finance, accounting, business, and economics, people with this kind of background often think they're at a disadvantage. It's not always true. As I told you before, because you understand business, you oftentimes have the big picture. You never lose sight of it. And you have a clear sense of purpose. Once you are done with the data analysis, you are a better communicator, and you know how to write up the narrative. You know how to present the findings to the business team, so your work doesn't go to waste. I have seen people coming from STEM background, they create the charts and graphs and that look very ugly. So nobody's perfect, and everybody has your own unique set of strengths and weaknesses. You just need to contain the weakness, and then you will become more competitive. Any questions? Okay. The 3 states of going nowhere. If you find yourself in one of these shitholes, you need help to unblock you. The first one is learning forever without a focus. I'm pretty sure you know somebody who has been doing online courses for like 2 years, 3 years, and 5 years, and they're still doing it, right? That's not good. I think a good bootcamp, like WeCloudData bootcamp, can really help you save time. And do the math. If you can find a good job, 3 months sooner, it pays for the training. It's totally worth it. And the second step is can't get interviews. If you only have a resume without a portfolio, then it becomes really hard. It becomes tough to even get interviews. And then 3 months and 6 months from now, you find yourself in the same spot. You're not moving. And some of you can get interviews, but you can't pass interviews. So you cannot pass the coding test. You don't know how to do a case study. You don't know how to present the case. So it all comes down to acquiring the right skills in the right context. So you not only can pass the technical test, you can also tell stories, amazing stories that can convince the hiring manager to give you that opportunity, right? And this is the one and only purpose of this bootcamp. If you want to get some of my advice, feel free to schedule a one-on-one meeting with me, and we can spend half an hour discussing your circumstances and how to strategize your next move. And if the bootcamp is for you, I'm not sales, so I will give you my honest opinion. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much. And I hope I will meet some of you in meetings or maybe through emails or on LinkedIn. Bye for now.